Pamela Rickenbach. I'm one of the many people here taking care of the horses at Blue Star Equiculture. I'm here with my co-founder, Christina Hansen, and we're here to share with you these wonderful horses and talk a little bit about their histories.
My name's Christina Hansen. I'm with Pam, the co-founder of Blue Star Equiculture, and I'm here with Mike. Mike is a former carriage horse. He and I and Pam were actually all co-workers down in Philadelphia. I met Pam when we were both working for a 76 carriage company in Philadelphia, and we were talking a lot about how people didn't understand what it was that we were doing, driving horses in the streets. You know, a lot of people would say horses don't belong in the city, and they always say, well, you know, horses built the city. They've always been here. They belong here. It's we humans who have decided that somehow they don't, kind of kick them out. When Pam came to me with a proposal for starting a rescue, we wanted to do a rescue that acknowledged that horses, particularly big draft horses, belong with people, they like to work, and having worked with us and for us, they deserve to have a retirement home after they're done working. Mike's a perfect example of that. He was actually purchased by the carriage company. He was developing arthritis in his knees, but pulling a carriage is really easy. And so he was able to do that for a while until his arthritis degenerated to the point that he was having difficulty getting up in the morning, literally. Getting a 2,000-pound draft horse off the ground when he's having trouble getting his legs under him is not an easy task. And so he came to Blue Star to be retired, and he's a spokeshorse for, working horses.
We're in the heart of this gathering. We're on the second day, and tomorrow will be our World Peace and Prayer Day with Orville Looking Horse. And it seems that Orville's, one of the underlying themes that he's trying to present this year especially is how the mindset of individualism needs to be transformed into more tribalism. And I understand what he's trying to say is we need to start to think in terms of as a community.
This is a beautiful place to live.
I think one of the most fundamentally beautiful things or important things that's happening here is that we're learning how to get along in a community for the sake of the horses. You know, I always talk about how, well, a lot of us say this is not a rescue for horses, that once you're here even for a day, you begin to realize, wait a minute, those horses are hooked up. It's really a rescue for people. We seem to bring our best to them. They touch us in ways that opens us up, and we release some of the guards that we have, and then we look around at each other and we're like, wow, you feel the same? Do you really feel like I feel? Like, wow, isn't he beautiful? And these kids too, they're opening up to each other and sharing with each other, and we're always encouraging the kids to get along, not to compete with each other, which is a bit different than other stables in this area. I mean, we have some really competitive show stables here, and we're in a pretty affluent area in Massachusetts.
My favorite horse is Cupcake.
There's quite a lot of people here that have children that are riding and they're going and they're competing against each other. Well, our kids here at the rescue, we don't encourage that at all. We don't encourage that they even compete in shows unless it's as a group. You know, together they bring this horse to show off how magnificent he is. And it's amazing because it seems like once they're given permission to get along in that way, they automatically do it. It's almost like, oh yeah, wait, why am I not? I really like her, she's my friend. I don't want to be fighting and get at this resentment. And so it's changing us.
My name's Justin Moraes. I live here and work here at Blue Star Equiculture, and I help run this rescue. And what's so beautiful about this place is the combination of loving these horses and caring for them and finding them good forever homes, and the combination of that and the history and also the environmental education.
Blue Star Equiculture asks a simple question, which is, what if working horses could support themselves? What if everything that they earned through their labor, instead of going to support somebody else, went to support themselves? Not just themselves, because working horses have always supported themselves, but to support their fellow horses that can no longer work. And what if, in the process of doing that, we got to teach people about what horses are capable of?
Okay, so here we have Tony B and Iceman. They're a team. They've been together for about 10 years. They came to our farm about a year ago. We found them on their farm. They had been standing in their field for about 6 years, unused, unable to work. These horses really desperately needed to come to a place where they could be cared for and looked after and worked with, because working horses, it's not very good for them to be standing around doing nothing. Even if they're older, they need the interaction with humans, and they need special care and attention. Iceman, after we got him here on the farm, we took him out to see what he could do, or how they would do hitched up, and we discovered pretty quick that he had problems with his eyesight. So we looked into it, and it turns out he's about half blind, which doesn't prevent him at all from doing his job. It just requires that we're more sensitive to his special needs. They really love people, as you can see. They're really affectionate, and this is generally the case with all drafts. They really, really are special in that they've been with people throughout time. They want to be with people. They want to work with people. These are just two of the very special boys here on the farm.
This is George. George is an appendix quarter horse. He's about 14. He was rescued from a lady, and because he has a sore on his shoulder, that's why he came here instead of ended up at auction and maybe not a better fate. So he's here to get better. This is Huey Kahn. He is, I think, 4 years old, and he's here because he has bad knees. He was ridden too young as a 2-year-old and jumped, and they ruined his legs, and he's here to rehabilitate and get better. This is Hope. She's a 3-year-old, and she came to us from the slaughter pen, I believe, down in New Jersey. And when we got her after a couple months, we discovered she's pregnant. She's in foal, and she's due any day now.
And so what we're asking is, can we, through reconnecting with the horse, remembering what it was that we did with them and what they did with us, can we reconnect ourselves with the earth and with who we are as people? Our little tagline is drafting a better future for horses, humans, and Mother Earth.
Even in the organization ourselves, it started by carriage drivers, and carriage drivers are notoriously independent people. Like, they're very, it's a really eccentric, gifted group of people. I mean, if you look at any carriage driver in any city, how they got to be carriage drivers is sometimes really fascinating. As carriage drivers, just for us to get along at all, we have to accept each other. When we're driving out on the streets, we have to give each other stands, or not take all the rides, or care about each other to some degree. But we learn to really respect each other and love each other, because we also work really hard. We arrive at the stable at 7 in the morning, we get our horses ready, we go out, do tours, and usually in our stable in Philly, it didn't matter the weather. It could be dangerously below zero or dangerously hot. We had to go out until we were told we had to come back in. So, all of us would have each other to be like, can you believe we're doing this? But it made all of us here at Blue Star very hardcore in terms of the work and the commitment to it. And if we wanted that job, we really had to show up for it. And it's true here for the rescue. If we really want to save these horses, if we really want to make a difference and show that we can do something sustainable and progressive here, we have to show up for it. Despite how we feel, despite what the weather is, we got to feed the horses every single day.
That's sweet.
He likes me. Yes, I like him too.
Teaching all of us is this really deep, abiding love for each other and for the horses, and this connectedness that Orville is trying to communicate to us, that if we're going to make it through these coming times, we need to learn all of these values, and we need to really hold them tight. It's not going to be about who has the fastest car or the biggest house, or it doesn't matter at all what we have. It's really going to come down to the kind of fortitude we have to face what's happening, and we can only really have that if we have each other. What moves us forward other than to share with each other? And we see that better in ourselves when we're doing it for the animals or for the horses or the environment or the children. When it comes to these horses who silently have to bear their experiences that some of us can only guess at, a lot of these horses come to us and they have, well, all of them come to us with big walls up. And then over time and consistent structure, like a child, they begin to relax and realize that, okay, they're going to feed me every day and they're petting me and they actually like me. So they start to open up and reveal parts of themselves. And when you start to see that change in them, you begin to realize you were that powerful to have released this animal from his torment, because horses have a very special way of going very far away when they don't want to be reached. And we all know this experience of disassociation when we're out there, you know, and we can't be brought back. And horses can live in that state for a long time because they're so sensitive. Sometimes the only way to survive is by disassociation, which, you know, we know this to be true for us when we're traumatized. But talk about an animal that's got a 50-million-year-old nervous system that's so sensitive he can hear something a mile away. And here we are yelling commands at them or telling them. They actually, horse whispering is so effective because they can hear us better when we're talking softly. We do not ever have to raise our voices with them. So what does that mean if we're going to be in a relationship with a horse? It means caring enough about him that we don't impose our way on him and that we back up and learn what he's trying to share with us. And that happens just by loving them, and they will teach you. They will teach you in a way that I don't think there is another being that can teach quite like that, because they're so honest. They're such a perfect mirror. I mean, if you're not treating them well, you will know. They'll go away and they won't respond. But if you're loving them, they'll start looking at you. And then you go out there one day, and I see it with some of my sickest horses and scaredest horses. They come out and they see you and they start nibbling on you. And it's their really insecure way of saying, hi. Like, hi, remember you're my friend. Like some horse like Iceman, who has every reason in the world to be scared to death. He's losing his vision. Tony B, his main support in life, is an older draft horse who I think on some level Ice must know Tony won't always be there. Tony is his life rock, and if Ice is separated from him, he gets very insecure and scared. But we're breaking through, and we see it all the time when we take Iceman out to work, when we separate him from Tony B, and he only has us, and he's got to listen to us, and he's got to be hitched up. Once he's hitched, he's good, he does his job, he's been trained well, but he wants to get right back to Tony B. But little by little by little, we've been seeing Ice, when we go out to visit him in the field, that he's like, hi. Like he'll Fergus like, hi. And then he'll go back down and be like, hi. And he sees God, I can't tell you the feeling that gives you when you've made that kind of difference in an animal that's so, you know in your heart this animal should not be discarded. He would be a very easy candidate for slaughter, just because no one would want to deal with a 2,000-pound neurotic crazy man, really. And you know, we, with love and patience, we were able to get him to open and trust us and be with us. And can you imagine the feeling of having accomplished that with a 2,000-pound animal that has that kind of power and spirit?
This is a place for horses that don't have anywhere else to go. This is their last chance. If they don't come here, they're dog food or they're put down and buried somewhere. This is the only life they have, the chance that they have to exist on this plane ever. So if they didn't take them here, they wouldn't have a home. And that's important because, you know, people will keep brain damaged people in a coma sometimes for years. But if an animal gets hurt, they automatically talk about putting it down. It's too much work. And when they come here, they're taken care of. They have vets. If they're used to being shod, they get shoes. If they're used to being inside and they don't like the outside, they have a barn. So they're taken care of spiritually, physically, and mentally.
And so we want to bring back people into connection with horses. We also at the same time had some horses that needed help. And horses that had health issues in the city that after many years in the carriage business could no longer pull a carriage. And you know, what's going to happen to them? They no longer can work. There wasn't facilities to take care of them in the city. Where were they going to go? What was going to happen to them? They need to have a retirement home. And the question was, well, after all the work that they've done, shouldn't they have some place? You know, shouldn't they have had something set aside for them to take care of them for the rest of their lives? So that's when the idea of sort of finding a place here, in this case at Blue Star Equiculture in Palmer, Massachusetts, where, you know, the horses that can't work anymore, that need a home, you know, can be taken care of, and the horses that can work, because even horses that, you know, may no longer be able to pull a plow 6 days a week, or may no longer be able to work in the carriage business 5 days a week, can still do something. They have something to contribute. And how can their contribution be used to support other horses that also need their help too, as well as helping themselves?
Christina and I are the co-founders of Blue Star, because we did sit around talking about it on the corners in 5th and Chestnut, and we were like, wow, what if we had a sustainable project where the horses made all their own money? And that was all beautiful, but you know, their ideas, everybody's got a million ideas. It took everybody in this organization, and there's a lot of us. I mean, there's maybe 30 committed volunteers in this organization that I could say, honestly, that if any one of them pulled out, we would feel the loss in a big way. Because of what they bring, no one else can possibly bring.
This is Peg of My Heart. She's a sport horse from Heritage. She was born with salmonella, very weak. And after her struggle to stay alive and beat the odds of salmonella, when she was turned out, she was attacked by a coyote or a dog, and they did so much damage to her tail that the rest of it had to be amputated. So because of that, she has a lot of neurological problems, and her growing issue, she'll be 2 next month. And because sometimes she's growing so fast, her body won't support her. And with the help of the Bondsville Fire Department, we were able to save her life because she was strong enough to support her own weight. She recovered nicely from that incident. And then at Easter, at an Easter egg hunt, she was running and playing. She tripped, did a somersault, landed on her back, and did a lot of more damage to herself. So she's quite a girl in recovery almost all of the time. She's an easy horse to work with. She has proven many times how huge her heart is.
The life experience, the perspective, you know, each individual has their own perspective. And what's beautiful about Blue Star, for the sake of the horses, we're deciding to get along with each other and need each other. And it's every day makes us stronger, it makes us better, it makes us braver. Orville has also been talking quite a lot about the kind of person it's going to take to come through these times. And he says that it's going to take a person that has a lot of faith and hope and courage. And Blue Star absolutely builds every single one of those values in us, in every minute that you're on this farm.
Blue Star is a draft horse rescue, and they give a nice home to the working horse to retire in and just live comfortably the rest of their days.
Blue Star is about rescuing horses, maintaining them. It's all from proceeds and making sure that they're safe and they're not battered.
Orville said it very clearly today, Spirit brought him here. And here to Blue Star, among this group of people that are so committed and healing so deeply and profoundly, and these children that are like loving life all of a sudden so deeply, and these horses that are getting finally the recognition that they've deserved all along. I mean, this Spirit was brought here in the form of Orville and his prayer. He's the horseman of the Lakota people.
All my life, ever since I was very young, you know, we go to ceremonies and then we do that horse ceremony. In fact, when we go into prayers, we offer our prayers to the West for the Thunder Beings and the Horse Nation. When we went to school, they told us that the Spaniards brought the horses in the 17th century.
A lot of people believe that the horse was brought over by the Spaniards. And when Orville was originally given the bundle, one of the ceremonies that was given with that bundle was the horse ceremony. and that was given when the white buffalo calf woman came to us prior to Columbus landing here. So we believe horses were here prior to. In fact, the Appaloosa, which is a famous horse for the Nez Perce, we believe that that horse covered a lot of the plains area in the western United States originally.
I've always talked about how sacred the horses are, and it's part of our ceremonies. And now today I'm a spiritual leader, a spiritual advisor for protecting the wild mustangs and the wild burros. It's all horses that I'm very concerned about, because of horses has always been part of our ceremonies on the sacred land, and it's part of our life.
And the importance of all walks of life, whether it's two-legged, four-legged, the ones that fly or swim, we're all connected in this circle that Orwell always talks about. We need every single breath, a life that exists, and protect any life. So this is actually Peace and Prayer is dedicated to the horses that are being rescued. And so that's the importance of this one, and I support that 100% in Blue Star for what they do for these horses. And I got to talk and be part of some of the horses that are here, and got to ride a very beautiful horse, and it was a wonderful experience.
The bundle that I take care of with the horse ceremony, there's a healing ceremony also. When a person is sick, you give them a horse. The horse doctors this person. It's a spiritual connection between man and horse. So that's been going on since the bundle was here. And today, that's what we're trying to do, is bring the horses back, and then people can come and they can get healing from their horses. That could be done today. So they have their own energy. They have their own power of healing people. The horse has to be in a good place, and then it will help you. If you ask it to help you, it will help you. But you got to respect that horse, because that horse has a mind of its own too. And I saw this one film. This person was crippled, and they made this person swim with that dolphin there. That dolphin, just by swimming with that dolphin, got better. That's the same as the horse. The energy of the horse can heal people. Today we're still trying to work with the horses in that way.
Interacting with horses is a way to sort of help understand yourself too. It requires patience, it requires being in tune with yourself and with another being. We want to reach out, bring the horses out into the community. We want to encourage the community to come here. We've seen our young volunteers, who come to the farm and they connect with these horses, and they want to come and they want to muck stalls. I mean, they want to play with the horses too. It's more fun than mucking stalls, but they see that, these horses, need them. They need somebody to groom them or walk them or take care of their stall or their pasture. And we've had parents come and say, my kid never cared about really anything until they started caring about this, and they're here like every day, or they're here, on the weekends. And one of the young volunteers, actually she's not even a volunteer yet, but she started coming here with our haunted hayride, and has been wanting to come volunteer, and now that school's out, she's got some time to do it. And she's 10 years old, and she's had a birthday, and she wants to donate her birthday money to the horses.
This thing unfolding in Blue Star is a microcosm for what is unfolding in a lot of places in the world. It happens to be a horse rescue, it happens to be about horses, but this is going on, I believe, all over the place in different ways with different people. So learning all of these things heals us, integrates us, brings us into the moment, the present, like, wait, I come from something so rich and strong and amazing, and now I can go forward to do even more, to do exactly more than was created yet. And in these days, I think it's more about the heart. And what becomes more and more important is the moment-to-moment being in this elegance of living, in this beauty of getting to see my sisters or my brothers and work with them, and then when we look at each other and we look at these horses and we look at each other and we're like, my God, we're doing this.
I love the people here, I love the horses, I love the philosophies and the atmosphere. It's calm, it's peaceful, it's loving, it's accepting. It's a place of refuge for creatures, four-legged, two-legged, any.
Now horses, you know, the only way to really understand who they are to us is to be with them. I mean, all of us have a memory, I believe. It's only 100-something years ago that we left them, put them aside. But all of us have this deep memory, I really, truly believe, of being in a world that's designed with them. Our architecture, our buildings are designed by how we were on them. How we got off our horses in front of our homes. Our roads that we drive on in modern days were measured by the space it takes to turn a carriage around. Historically, it's known asphalt was created for horses so that they could have a better grip and it would be easier for them to pull along. They were pulling on cobblestone or Belgian block before we did that for them.
We at Blue Star Equiculture support the carriage industry. And we're here to help people who, because they live in a city, because they have a limited amount of land, and you know, they have to be able to support their family and their existing horses, may not have the facilities and the resources to take care of retired working horses. We're also here to try and find jobs for horses. There are other horses, whether they're retired carriage horses or farm horses that, you know, have gone through an auction, or just other draft horses who need homes, who need jobs. We understand that having a job means having security in this world right now.
We go out into the communities, we take our big, beautiful horses, we get in the way of traffic, and we're like, slow down. You need to learn a little history for a minute. That thing you planted a tree in is a watering trough that those horses were drinking from. And they're like, wow, and this is everybody. Most of them have no clue about the kind of history they're living in, and they're so empowered when they hear it.
It takes the whole community to take care of its horses.
I would invite people to come and look, and if you want to be part of this organization is 100% volunteer. Everything we do for the horses and the environment and the children. And so it all goes there. It all goes to their care, to their well-being, and to whatever is necessary to keep them here with us.
When you make a donation to Blue Star Equiculture, you're giving the community, yourself, the children in the community, a chance to reconnect with horses, to reconnect with the land here, to reconnect with the earth, and you really are drafting a better future for horses, humans, and Mother Earth.
I would encourage everybody to just go for it. Go for whatever it is they think they need to be doing, but in this case for us, as a group, we're doing exactly what Orville is asking us to do and praying for us to be able to do with the values that he's asking us to have, the faith and the courage and the hope.
So in our family, we have to take care of these horses.
It's given us everything, everything.
If we can do it in a ceremony, we can do it in the world.